Hi, my name is Kathy.
Hi, I'm Rich.
And I'm Les. Come along on our Alaska highway adventure. For those of you who don't know Kathy and myself, part of our business is making railroad videos for our railroad enthusiast customers. For this trip, we were traveling to Skagway, Alaska to do a program on the world-famous White Pass and Yukon Railroad. Along the way, we would stop in Banff, Alberta, Canada to get some footage, then on to Jasper, Alberta, and do a program on the trains there. Kathy's cousin Rich came along for the adventure and to help out with the driving and video shooting. We had a couple more friends tag along that you'll see from time to time. Kathy gave me these two stuffed dogs before we got married, and they go with us on many of our adventures. Looking at this map from MapQuest, you can see that the mileage from Indianapolis to Banff going the direct route is 1,865 miles. But we wanted to sightsee on the way, so we actually took this route, so by the time we had reached Banff, we had driven over 2,000 miles. We stopped in the Banff area to get some footage of the Canadian Pacific's line over Kicking Horse Pass, including the famed spiral tunnels, one of which you see here. The trains really do curve around on top of themselves inside the mountain. Now, one of the things about traveling up here is that there are almost no fences, and the animals are everywhere. Not far from the tunnel, we saw this female elk. This black bear and her cubs attracted quite a bit of attention along the highway, even though they were quite a distance away. As you'll soon see, they weren't the only bears that we would encounter. We're done with our work on Kicking Horse Pass and are heading north on one of the most spectacular roads in North America, the Icefields Parkway. The Icefields Parkway happened to be the direct route to Jasper, but we would go out of our way to drive it again. The road gets its name from the many glaciers that are along the route, but the glaciers are only part of the experience. One thing that we got used to pretty fast is how empty the roads are here. Empty, that is, of people. As our trip progressed, we were always on the lookout for, as I called them, critters. Not long into our trip, we came upon a herd of bighorn sheep along the road. The sheep were grazing alongside Nigel Creek and its spectacular waterfall. Rich wasn't satisfied with the view from the highway and decided to take a closer look. We're back on the highway, but soon there's another waterfall to visit. And down the road, yet another waterfall. But for all the noise, there was plenty of silence too. The Icefields Parkway is spectacular. We hope someday to go back. Jasper, Alberta is a quaint tourist town, gateway to Jasper National Park. The Canadian National's transcontinental main line runs through here, a simply fabulous place to photograph trains. People often ask us about our photography. While it's nice if we can get our shots alongside the highway, that's not always the case. One time, while waiting on a train, we saw this coyote who was being harassed by a couple of blackbirds. In the Jasper area, we also enjoyed seeing quite a few elk. We're done with our photography in Jasper, and now it's time to head to Alaska. Heading out of the Jasper area, we're 1,288 miles from our destination and are traveling through some of the most beautiful scenery that the continent has to offer. having a good trip?
I am. Are you?
Yeah, what do you think about the trip?
This is a trip of a lifetime, as we all say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your friends are upside down, or one of them is back there.
She's taking a nap. Don't bother her. I'm doing the same.
North of the town of Grand Cache, we saw this coyote and her cubs alongside the road. One of the things that we had to get used to in this area is how remote it is. That isn't to say that there aren't towns. One of the larger ones we passed through was Grand Prairie. Going through places like this, it was hard to realize that we were even in another country. We're not too far past Grand Prairie, and we're on our last stretch of 4-lane highway. It will be nothing but 2-lane roads for the next 1,000 miles. One of the advantages of leaving the freeways behind is that the few towns that we pass have character, like Beaver Lodge, Alberta. Next, on to British Columbia. We're in Dawson Creek, British Columbia, at Milepost 0 of the famous Alaska Highway. It's a long way to anywhere, but this is where you start. We spent the night in Fort St. John, so we would be ready for the big day ahead. Kathy and I call the Alaska Highway the North America Wildlife Safari for all the animals that one encounters. Not far past Fort St. John, we saw some moose. Even though Canadian highways are measured in kilometers, every so often one will encounter a historical mile marker, a tribute to the original highway. At mile 225, we get a glimpse of what animals we'll see next. Just past Fort Nelson, we decided to make an unplanned detour from our trip. I'd looked at the Northwest Territories on maps since I was a little boy and never even dreamed that I would ever get that far north. So we decided to take a quick detour on the Liard Highway to the Northwest Territories. Now, the first thing that you realize is that although this is one of only 2 major routes into the territories, it is in fact just a very long dirt road. The Northwest Territories are almost twice the size of Texas, but only 41,000 people live there, so there's not too much traffic over this bridge. An hour and a half north of the Alaska Highway, we reached our destination. Bear aren't the only animals on the highway. Just north of the border, we came upon this herd of bison. It was getting late, so we had to turn around and start back to the Alaska Highway so we could get on our way. Traveling in the North Country, it's easy to lose track of time because of the long hours of daylight in the summer. It is indeed 10:29 in the evening. It was a long day, so we decided to go back to Fort Nelson to get some sleep. The next morning, leaving Fort Nelson, we still had 675 miles to go, but what incredible miles they were! We're passing through Stone Mountain Provincial Park and the Northern Rockies. Not too far from Toad River, we found this herd of caribou that couldn't decide which way to go. We were always on the lookout for wildlife and had to stop when we saw this beaver pond. Without a doubt, one of the scenic highlights of any trip along the Alaska Highway is Muncho Lake. This pristine lake, with its emerald green color, captivates all who pass by. As beautiful as Muncho Lake is, we soon moved on as more scenery and animals awaited. One of the most amazing things about the Alaska Highway is that hundreds and hundreds of miles are unfenced, and you can come upon some pretty large animals at almost any time.
Bison.
at historic mile marker 585, the border between British Columbia and Yukon territory. Over the years, the Alaska Highway has been modernized, and one can see that the old highway used to straddle the border here. We head on into Yukon, and our adventure continues. In Watson Lake, there is this incredible sign forest where people from all over the world have left signs of all sorts. After Watson Lake, the scenery was really beautiful as we continued passing through the northern Rockies. One hears stories about how primitive the old Alaska Highway was, but there are still a few sections where the current highway is unpaved.
Alaska Highway.
Several miles east of Whitehorse, we left the Alaska Highway behind and turned south towards Skagway. The road to Skagway is called the Klondike Highway and is spectacular in its own right. Skagway, Alaska is a historic gold rush town dating from the 1890s. We'll visit the town a little later. We still have some more traveling to do. We're actually staying in Dyea, which is 7 miles west of Skagway and can be reached only by this winding, narrow road. We've reached our destination, which, not including side trips, is 3,720 miles from Indianapolis. Our home for over a week is the Chilkoot Trail Outpost. That's our cabin there, cabin number 3. We really like this cabin, as we had our own personal waterfall right behind it. About a mile from our cabin, there's a large tidal flat area near the ghost town of Dyea. It's home to several bears, one of which, this coastal brown bear, we saw on more than one occasion. Going a mile in the other direction from our cabins, we came upon these two bears enjoying a hearty dinner of grass and dandelions. Another critter that we saw almost every day was this bald eagle that nested close to our cabin. So what are we doing here today?
Having a Chilkoot Trail cook-off.
I'm gonna win.
He's gonna win. Because it's his birthday, so he gets to win.
Les is the judge, so I might not win.
It's true. We'll never know. We can't tell you who cooked what.
So we got a presents here.
Yeah, it's somebody's birthday. They're 21 years old.
We got food. And we got some steaks,
Sure.
it looks like, being grilled.
You want salt and pepper on yours, Les?
Sure, please.
Ham it up for the camera, Rich. Now's your chance.
Woohoo! Choo choo!
This is the view. Everybody at home is sweltering in 90-degree weather.
We're
And
cold.
it's 20 to 10 right now. And we're in Alaska. It's 20 to 10. And you can see how bright it is. There's our pretty Jeep. Here's our waterfall. We're going to ignore the peasants over there. There's our waterfall. This is our cabin. This is our waterfall. What are they plotting?
Look what he has to show you.
S'more bucket. You have to
Okay.
explain the s'more bucket.
Okay.
Got all the goodies, right? The marshmallows, the graham crackers, and the chocolate, all provided by
Kathy and Fred.
Yeah, the
Not
cabin,
me.
the cabin people, the cabin lady.
And the s'more sticks show them the invention
You
she
should
created.
you should do one.
All right, go get a stick. I'll do one.
This
Please.
is our fire. Again, this is the middle of June. We're in the middle of June. While everyone in Indianapolis is sweltering, we are in Alaska in the middle of June.
You have a special one with just marshmallows. I think we don't have any.
Okay,
Cameraman.
so you're going to instruct us here?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what to do.
2 crackers. Uh-oh. I'm
Keep
too
going,
slow.
keep going.
Trying. I need my assistant. Will my lovely assistant get a marshmallow out for me? Thank you. I'll get the good stuff. Chocolate. 2 of them. One to eat and one to make fun with. Thank you, sir. So, we put the marshmallows and the chocolate and the graham crackers. Everybody knows what s'mores are made out of. Squeeze it. And put it on here. This one's hard to squeeze. It's ready for roasting.
Okay, now what are we doing?
Well, Some pyromaniac put so many logs on the fire we can't cook our s'mores. Well, we're gonna try anyway. I don't know if this one's gonna come out very well. How about the coat?
Yeah, hold up.
Well, it shows that you've been really on the trail, huh? Rich does them the old-fashioned way.
That's a good way.
I believe you. Just do it this way for the camera.
Even better.
Okay, this is the s'more that my sweetie has thoughtfully made for me. We'll see what happens here. It looks like catastrophe is close to happening. We'll try. There we go. Now, of course, I'm the one that gets to be made a fool of on camera with a messy marshmallow. So, looks pretty good. What do you think?
I don't know. Is it good?
I think it's good.
Great.
Now you got me in front of the camera.
You don't know what to do in front of the
I
camera,
don't know
do
what
you?
to do in front of the camera. Of course, I know I also can edit all this out. It doesn't much matter.
Well, aren't we sassy?
How do you like the big camera?
It's a lot heavier, that's for sure. Very nice, you guys.
So what does everyone think about Alaska?
You go first.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty great. Pretty neat place.
Plus, it wasn't so cold. We could move here.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect today, this week. They say it's 100 or 94 in Indiana. It's too hot. All the grass died, everything. This is the place to be, huh?
Mm-hmm. And like I say, this is 20, now it's 15 minutes to 10. And it won't get significantly darker. Even at midnight, it'll be pretty much like this. 2 in the morning, it'll be a little bit darker.
Doesn't bother me, but Rich and Les are struggling with sleeping in the light. I'm used to it.
Is that good, Les?
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Even though we had to work, we got to enjoy this view every day as we headed home to our cabin. How does this compare with your commute? We spent much of our time in Skagway, which retains its Gold Rush flavor, except for the cruise ship that's parked at the end of Broadway. Of course, the real reason we came was to get video of the famous White Pass and Yukon Railroad, which we photographed almost every day for 10 days. All told, we put over 13,000 miles on the Jeep. And even though we were working, we had the trip of a lifetime. If you ever have the chance, you owe it to yourself to drive the Alaska Highway at least once.